Hey guys, it's Phoenix. Today I'm making a video that I've been wanting to make for a while. This is going to be focusing on the importance of color grading and textures in my project so far. So projects meaning my drawings, but also mainly my Photoshop posters. So right here we have my Trample and Sabrina poster. This is actually what it looks like with the color grading on. This is what it looks like without the color grading. You can see a big difference here. It's less cohesive, and the final version has more of a pink hue to it. Now, if you don't know me, my favorite colors are pastels, and I'm very particular how they look together. So this, without color grading, is definitely a no for me. It's just not the vibe. Another thing I would like to add is that I also changed Trample's hair to be vibrant red, like her hair is currently, because the photo I used is older, back when she had light brown hair. I also changed her outfit, earrings, and nails to be hot pink instead of red to match the pink theme. And right here we have my Sabrina bedroom poster. This was early on in my poster journey, and you can see it looks kind of out of place because the Sabrinas have an orange hue to them, and the other assets just don't feel like they fit in with the scene. In the final version, just like the previous poster before this, it has an overall pink hue. It's also brighter and airier and dreamier, and overall it's more cohesive. I really think this coloring did a big favor for the sunset behind her too. And right here we actually have my oldest project out of all the ones I'll be showing you today. This was made in 2022. This is Curtis, Connor, and Jenna Allard's wedding. Now the first thing that stands out to me is that the background, the sky is way too cartoony and blue. It just doesn't really match well. In the final version, I kind of added a vintage look to the drawing. I kind of dampened the colors a bit, they're less vibrant. I also added a vignette to put more focus on the subject. This amazing cute couple. Right here, we have my most popular drawing. And right here you can see that things are kind of dim and dark, and the colors are mainly neutral if they're out in the sun or a neutral light was shining on them. And the final version, I made it so they're more integrated with the stage, like if there are pink stage lights on them, and I also upped the saturation and vibrancy. A big part of all of my work is that I like things to be vibrant and colorful, depending on the vibe obviously, but more often than not. And here we have this poster I made as a concept for Curtis's Earnfund shows. I made it because I saw he didn't have any for his upcoming shows yet, and he actually ended up buying it off of me. I plan on talking about this more in the future, but I just wanted to add that bonus context. For this one, I actually added some color grading, some texture, and I scanned it. Scanning your posters, depending on what it is, can really improve your work. I found that scanning your posters works if you don't color grade it too much. Because if you color grade it a lot, then you're set on a certain vibe. Scanning often, depending on how it interprets the colors, it can give you a totally different vibe than what you were looking for. So only sometimes will it help you in the long run. But for this one, I really think it helped. You can see how it just made those blues pop. I think it looks great. This is when I turned Sabrina's Met Gala look into Sleeping Beauty. I don't know what it is, something about the look was just giving that for me. I think it was mainly her hair. You can see this original one. It kind of just looks vaguely like nighttime, but it's not really rich at all. Doesn't really have any life to it. And in the final version, you can see I added a bit of rainbow light in the upper left corner, and I also added some dust texture. This one, I wanted the darks to be lined a bit so it was more soft and more vintage, and I also added more of a blue and purple hue to the piece, so that way it would look more rich and more of a stylized nighttime effect. This is one of my more recent pieces. This is Chappell Roan's Poison Ivy. You can see in this original one, the greens are kind of too saturated, honestly. Looks a bit cartoony. Obviously, this is one of my more heavily edited pieces. And when I do heavy editing like this, color grading can really help hide those tiny mistakes. In the final version, I went for a vintage look yet again. I upped the darks, and I also wanted the highlights to be more yellow, so she's not just looking straight up unrealistically green. And I added vintage grain, and I also added this overlay that had red highlights in the upper right-hand corner, which I think matched perfectly because of her red hair and the other red elements in this piece. Right here, we have my most recent poster. And before you comment, I obviously know the blood isn't super realistic looking. This is my first time trying out blood, and I realized I wouldn't be able to make it look super realistic, so I purposely ended up leaning into the artisticness. In the original shot, you can see that's more of a neutral color. Because it's gory, it's about being a vampire. I want it to be more eerie and have a bit more of a creepy vibe. So, in the final one, I gave it more of a green hue. Again, went with a vintage look. I'm a sucker for vintage coloring. But yeah, I think the coloring of this really was good at making it feel unsettling. Anyway, that's all I'm showing for now. Let me know if you're interested in more videos like these. I like making voiceovers because I can give more details rather than if it was just one of my regular music montage videos. Most of my work is on my Instagram, so feel free to check that out.